Coming up on this week's edition of AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf, we'll look back at the game against Lafayette. We'll look forward to the contest against Army West Point, and Sam Iorio will stop by. It all starts right now. And welcome into AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf. Dan Lang alongside Coach Brennan. And Mike, tough last couple of games, 3 losses, each by 2 points. What are you seeing and what are you saying? What are you telling the guys at this point?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we're preparing well. You know, the guys have done a terrific job of preparing. We're in all these games. Seems like our game plan is a 38-minute game plan as opposed to 40. But they're doing a lot of things to make sure that they're in the game at the end. I think closing out games consistently is just another, sort of step in the process for us. We haven't done that in the last few games, so hopefully we can finish out strong here.
What are some things that maybe you look at to try to do to shore up that part of
well, to be honest, I tell them just keep doing what they're doing, so they're in those they have those opportunities again. So the next time we play, we want to make sure that where there's a chance for us to win with the in the final minutes. And to be honest, they've executed. It's like a missed shot here. I mean, Petrie made some tough plays down the stretch. The other night. But we're getting good looks.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just a matter of just sticking with it and just finishing out and just making those tough plays at the end of the game. I don't like to say tough plays because our guys are playing tough. They're playing hard. It's just matter of inches. When it comes down to the last sort of few possessions there.
And how frustrating is that? I mean, you look at overall this season, 10 of the 13 losses are by a couple possessions.
Yeah, and we're in every game, so it should give us confidence going, down the stretch here. We can play with anybody. We're up at Colgate. We're up against all these teams. So again, I think it's just continuing to do what we've been doing because they've been. The whole team is, completely into it. I mean, just the entire bench. I mean, the entire night, throughout the Lafayette game, our entire bench is saying all the stuff that we've been saying in practice and helping their teammates and jumping up and running on the court. And that's not something that I address or say, hey, this is what good teams do. It's on their own because of the work they put in, in the practices. So it's genuine and organic. Which makes me feel good. So I'm glad that they're into it and that they're, despite the frustration,
sure.
I think they're, we're going to have good practices and, hopefully just finish strong down.
Yeah. Let's talk about Sam Iorio. And as a whole, he's going to be joining us here in a few minutes. And when you look at Sam, getting him to American University, take us through the recruiting process, sort of how he got on your radar and, the deal that got him here.
Yeah, well, he played at Parkland High School, which is a really terrific program. They won state championships and they put out a lot of good players, a lot of good athletes. And he also played for Tony Sagona with the Jersey Shore Warriors, who puts out terrific players year in and year out. And he does, both those guys do a great job of coaching. So we knew we were going to get somebody that was well coached. Not only throughout his high school season, but throughout the spring and the summer as well.
When you look at a guy like Sam, or not like Sam, you look at Sam, and you look at the fact that he plays all the minutes. I think this year he's averaging like 37, a little more north of 37 minutes. He leads the team in 3-pointers. He is right there in the rebounding. All facets of his game. Is he the type of guy that when you're recruiting him, you're like, wow, we got this guy? Like, is he the type of guy that when you look at him, may have been able to play at in a larger conference?
Yeah, well, he was a big kid early on in his high school career, so he's essentially the same size almost as a freshman in high school. So he was getting a lot of attention early on because people are expecting he's going to be 6'11" and all that kind of stuff. But he didn't grow. And luckily for us. And I think I think the level is a thing that sort of gets a lot of attention, but I think he made a good decision because he's getting the opportunity to play and sort of be in charge of making his team win. So as much as you can talk about what level it is, it's just you want to be on the court, not just playing, but you want to be the guy that's leading your team, and that experience I think is just as important as anything. His grandfather played at Villanova, so they had a Villanova connection there. But I think he, coming here has allowed him to be on the court, for the 37 minutes that you said a game, and just getting that experience and, having a terrific 4-year career as opposed to just trying to make his way into the rotation maybe somewhere else. He's been terrific. He's one of our hardest workers, and he's one of these guys that his body can take it. He's a strong kid, so practices really hard, plays really hard, and he's ready day off, and he's ready to go the next day.
When you look at his game right now, where do you see the biggest room for improvement during his next couple seasons?
Well, just comfort level as to knowing what he's doing on offense and defense. A lot of it is he's a very talented kid, scoring and dribbling and just a big, strong body, and has played basketball his whole life. But now it's just sort of tightening up all of these things, and having him understand when the time is to where we need you to make a play, whether it be and be able to make a play, whether it's shooting, passing, scoring in the post, because he can do so many things well. And now it's just him sort of tightening up all of those things and sort of putting it together. But he's been terrific all year for us.
Indeed he has, and it's time for our first time out here on AU Hoop Talk, presented by Launchbox Golf. And when we continue, Sam will join the conversation.
Welcome to our sleepy little college town. You may have heard of us. Here we stand up for causes as naturally as we sit down for classes. We believe that knowledge, understanding, and discovery will make the world a better place, and that our contributions are only limited by our imaginations. Words, medals, and degrees don't make us who we are. Meaningful change does.
We are American.
And there's nothing we would rather be.
Welcome back to AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf, now joined by Sam Iorio, and thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
So, basketball and your family, it's really been synonymous. It's really been something that is very important to your family. You have a grandfather that played at Villanova, your dad played for the Shamrocks. Just talk about what the two mean.
I mean, ever since I could walk, I had a ball in my hand. Like, my family's just a really big basketball family. And that they're really supportive of me, obviously from that, but they just had the biggest influence of why I play this game, and it just runs in the family, and I'm blessed to just be a part of such a great basketball family.
What is your earliest basketball memory?
My earliest basketball memory, honestly, is going to watch my dad play. He used to play in these summer league tournaments that were pretty big, and he had a lot of friends that were bigger time players too as well, and I just loved that, and I always just every time out, I'd be on the court shooting. And like little things like that was my earliest memory, just going to see him play.
How were you as a shooter then?
I was just trying to hit the rim at that point. I was pretty young. But when I started to get more serious and started to get more competitive, as I reached middle school, my dad took what Herb McGee taught him and applied it to me right away. And it was no joke. He was very serious about the shooting form early on, and it helped. So.
What are some of those biggest things that he taught you based on that?
He preaches doing these shooting drills before you actually shoot at a basket, get 100 shots up in the air, just get that arc, stuff like that. I guess when he was in college, like he had maybe an hour of shooting drills a day. It's the way he explained to me, and he just brings that over. And he ain't going to college as a shooter. He came out as a shooter, so he just tries to apply those drills to me. And as long as I can remember, I've been practicing it, and he's a big reason why I can shoot the way I can.
One of the things that I think is pretty interesting is growing up, you had a hoop without a backboard that you used. That's not something that's normal. How did that happen?
That's not from necessarily planned, but
Okay.
It was a crazy storm one day. Knocked my hoop down, broke the backboard right off. And I thought, I was like, okay, time for a new hoop, but my parents had other ideas. My mom actually was like, no, you're going to keep it this way. And then my dad just kind of ran along with it. It was like, it was just, the hoop was perfectly fine, just had no backboard. So I just learned to shoot swishes, and that's how I practiced, because if you missed, it was going across the street. So it just really helped me focus in, honestly. And then after a while, it was just normal. Like, everyone knew my house because of that. I was the house on the block with no backboard. But honestly, it helped a lot. And then also with that, my mom never let me lower it either. It was always 10 feet. You know, everyone wanted to lower the rim and dunk and do all this crazy stuff in middle school, but I wasn't allowed to. She would not practice with me unless that hoop was at 10 feet. She didn't want to watch me shoot unless it was at 10 feet, because that's the only way I would simulate a real-life experience. So that's how it was.
So she had a lot to do with getting you to where you are and being as good a shooter as you are.
I guess you could say that, yeah. But she's more mental, I would say. My dad's more the skill work. But yeah, my mom's always on, like, you got to focus and all that. And yeah, she really helps me with just keep my mind right and stuff like that. And especially like keeping the hoop at 10 feet, you know, that was big, important to her, and it pays off because you start shooting at 8 feet, it throws your arc off and stuff. And she caught on to that and never let me do it.
Now, did the other kids from the neighborhood, were they able to come by and use your hoop, or were they all like, nah, if we want to play, we're going to come over and use someone else's hoop down the street?
No, not many people played on my hoop. I was out there by myself, like, every day after school for hours, all middle school, all high school. You know, I loved it, and it was mostly just working out. Not many people played on it.
You mentioned high school, Parkland High School. You're the all-time leading scorer. What does that mean to you?
It was special. It was very special. I mean, I went into high school. My dad set a goal for me, just 1,000 points. That's a milestone you got to reach. And just coming in as a middle schooler, going to 9th grade, I didn't really understand that or what to expect, how big it was. And then after freshman year, I started almost every game, and it just kind of like came to me like, this is possible, like, it's cool. And then I reached it my junior year. And after that, I just wanted to keep going, do whatever it takes to help my team win. And senior year, they needed me to score, and it just kind of racked up. And I was just blessed to be the all-time leading scorer now.
And that helps put you on the radar for a lot of schools as far as college goes. Take us through the process that got you here to American University to join the Eagles program.
Yeah, I mean, it was a long process, but it was fun. You know, it was enjoyable. Stressful at times, but it's enjoyable. I got my first letter freshman year from a college, and that's when, like, it was always a dream, and that's when it really was like, oh, this is a reality. Like, I gotta keep working hard. So from freshman year all the way to senior year, it was just going to AAU tournaments. My grandparents and my parents literally came to every AAU tournament, no matter where it was across the country. They were always at every AAU tournament, which was crazy. But that it started with AAU, and then I transferred from a local AAU team to a more national recognized Under Armour AAU team. And then from there, it kind of just took off, and offers came in. And late junior year, Coach Brennan reached out to me early senior year, and they just stuck with me, and they just showed they really, really wanted me to be a part of this program and help make this a big championship team. So here I am, man.
What really stuck out to you about American University based on those other schools that were also after you?
Honestly, a lot had to do with playing time. I felt like I could come in right away and contribute, and that just kind of reminded me a lot like high school. I was able to come in right away as a freshman and contribute, and that really helped me early on get acclimated for that level. And I felt like that was a great circumstance here, and then they stuck with me. Like a lot of coaches through recruiting can come and go, and nothing's guaranteed. They always stuck with me, and I appreciate that, and I felt wanted, and that was a big key as well.
Any thought about wanting to get out of the Lehigh Valley, or the idea that within the Patriot League, of course, there's Lafayette and there's Lehigh that are in the Lehigh Valley. So while you come here to American University, you still have that connection to the Lehigh Valley. Any idea there of like, okay, I want to get away, but maybe not too far away, or was that even entered into the process at all?
I obviously wanted to be somewhat close because basketball's so important to my family. So I wanted them to be able to come see me play, but at the end of the day, that wasn't my main concern. I wanted to just be in the right fit. That was really what I focused on. Lehigh and Lafayette were actually my first two offers. And then just from there, I just always thought, oh, if it's the right fit, later on we'll see. But I was always looking for the right fit. And, you know, as the recruiting process went, more things came, more things went. And at the end of the day, going into my senior year, felt like the best option for me, and that's just how it was. The fit was just the most important, and the fact that it's close enough where my family can come see me play is also a bonus.
When you look at an example of how much your family has the passion for basketball, I think it's pretty neat that one of your grandfathers sends you an email after just about every game. Pretty much by the time you're ready to leave the arena, you have an email from your grandfather about what you just did on the floor a few minutes ago, right?
Yes. My one grandpa will text me, good luck, go get him, rebound, everything I need to focus on for the game, before the game. And my other grandpa will text me during the game when I'm on the court. And anytime he sees something, he goes on his phone right away and sends it to me. So after the game, I have a whole list of what things to look on in film, what I could focus on. And my dad does the same thing too, just always focusing on something. There's always something you could get better at. And they're very particular on things. So I just take it with a grain of salt, and, you know, they want me to get better, and I appreciate that. And everything they say to me, I try to focus on.
So they look at the good and the bad? Like, do they say, hey, you really did this really well, so look at it so you can keep doing this well? Or is it more like you need to get better at this, A, B, C, and D?
It's both. You know, they do a lot. They praise me a lot, obviously. I think my dad's son and grandpa's but it's negative too. I mean, I'm not going to get better by just getting praised all the time. So I think I take the negative. I appreciate it, and I appreciate it, and I try to work on it.
What's the biggest part of your game that you see the most need for improvement, or the most room for improvement on here as you sit here right now?
Probably transitioning back to a guard. I think that if I can become more of an all-around guard and forward, try to just play both, that would help me, because I played this situation in high school as well. Like, I played big man first 2 years, and then more guard-oriented junior year, and then I was a point guard for my high school senior year. So it's kind of started at center freshman year and moving back down to a guard, and, you know, just work on those ball handling and stuff to help me add to my game. You know, I feel like I could do a lot of things well, but I think I can make a jump to do a lot of things great, and I just focusing on everything and becoming better at everything is really my focus, just all around.
Well, thanks for stopping by, and best of luck here down the stretch run during this season.
Thank you. Appreciate
That's
it.
Sam Iorio right there. We'll be back with more on AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf.
Welcome to our sleepy little college town. You may have heard of us. Here we stand up for causes as naturally as we sit down for classes. We believe that knowledge, understanding, and discovery will make the world a better place, and that our contributions are only limited by our imaginations. Words, medals, and degrees don't make us who we are. Meaningful change does.
We are American.
And there's nothing we would rather be.
Welcome back to AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf. And, Coach, leading into the game against Army, when you take a look at the contests in the Patriot League, almost half the games have been decided by 10 or fewer points. First time you guys played Army, came away with a win by 3, and just speaks more to the parity in the conference to where we sit right now.
Yeah, no, Army's one of those teams that, they have a lot of guys that have played, back this year. So we knew they were going to be good. They just play so hard. And they got so many weapons, and they're kind of like Lafayette, where they get up and down, and their offense is just a lot of fast moving, so it requires a ton of energy to defend them. I thought we did a decent job, in the first game here. That 3-point shot that they missed at the end, I still got to watch the tape to make sure it doesn't go in. But no, I mean, everybody, the league is so competitive. Like you said, there's no sort of games where you feel you can go in and if you just play okay, you're going to win. That's not the case. I mean, you got to be on it, defensively, and you got to be on it offensively and take care of the ball, get good shots, and play really, really hard just to be in it at the end. So it just speaks to the the strength of the league, Army's always tough up there for sure.
When you look at Army, Guy, the only player first time you faced him that had double digits as far as points go was Matt Wilson. What's the key to slowing him down?
It's hard. He's a big, strong kid. He's a big, strong kid, and there's so much movement on the perimeter where those guys are whipping the ball around and driving, and he plays off of them very well. Just sort of rotating, and he gets a lot of dump offs, and they throw it into him in the post now more often because he's refined his game certainly. But I thought, to be honest, we tried to take away a lot of the perimeter stuff and a lot of the threes, and the bigs sort of wind up, doing well against us. So we're not necessarily going to completely stop him as long as we negate the 3-point shots and the perimeter. If he gets his and we win the game, that's our goal.
Best of luck up there at West Point.
All right, thanks a lot, Dan.
That's Coach Brennan right there, and that'll do it for this edition of AU Hoop Talk with Coach Brennan, presented by Launchbox Golf. To keep up with the Eagles, log on to aueagles.com, and, of course, follow them on all the social media platforms. We'll see you next time.